Look at the mess it's caused. This is the Audi RS e-Tron GT Performance. I first drove this car 8 months ago as a prototype alongside an Audi representative in Oman. And I think it's fair to say it left a big impression on both of us.
Oh my God!
Yeah, quick.
So it's quick, isn't it?
You know what would be really cool
What?
is if you had a button on the steering wheel and you could press it to jump over potholes.
Yeah, and maybe to jump over the camels?
Definitely.
How do we call it? Is it the camel button?
Camel button.
Camel button. Wow!
Today, we're in Germany to drive the final version of Audi's flagship, which has the official name, the Audi RS e-Tron GT Performance. And we're lucky enough to be reunited with the legend that helped make the prototype drive possible, e-Tron GT spokesperson Christian Hartmann.
Hi Rory, it's great to see you again.
Thanks for having me back. Last time I saw you, we were in a prototype version and I recommended a list of changes. Have you made all my changes?
Not all of them, but I think quite a lot. Remember last time I couldn't reveal the horsepower of the car?
Yeah, but today surely you can tell me how powerful
I can
it is.
tell you. It's in the performance version, 925 horsepower.
925 horsepower?
Yes, it's
wow.
amazing.
Okay, so you know what that means.
I'm afraid I know.
Me and you, we've got to do another launch control.
But this time I can't come with you.
You're not coming?
I'm still suffering from the driving in Oman. But you know what? We have prepared a test track and you can do this on your own.
Fine, cool. You're scared. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, all right. Enjoy.
This test area, which, although it looks suspiciously like a car park with some cones in, is part of a top secret test facility near Frankfurt, Germany. And it's a great place to assess this car's straight line performance, of which the RS e-Tron GT Performance should have plenty, thanks to Christian's claim of 925 PS and 1,027 Newton meters.
To put its power into context, 925 PS makes this the most powerful and possibly the fastest accelerating series production Audi ever made. Okay, I've been told that by default it makes 748 PS, but with launch control, you get damn near 1,000 horsepower. This should be fun. I've got my 0 to 62 timer on, I've got my RS performance engaged, I've got launch control activated, and I'm about to send it. Let's go! Okay. Wow! Oh my God! I forgot how violently these cars can accelerate. I banged my head against the back of the seat there. This thing took off. And I've got 0 to 62 in 2.5 seconds. I did feel a bit of wheel spin though. I wonder if I can get it faster. Launch control ready. Here we go. Oh! Oh my God, it's like... it's like falling off the world. That is something else. Still got 2.5. Do you know what? I think there's a 2.4 in this.
And to maximize my chances of getting it, I needed to warm the tires a bit because they were a bit cold. Very cold. Okay, extremely cold.
Okay, I think they're warm. That should do it. What was that noise? Oh no. Oh no. My lunch. Oh, Scheiße. No. 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 My donut flew out. Doing donuts with a donut, and look at the mess it's caused. There's donut inside the USB-C ports in my MacBook. Gonna have to call up the boss. Anyway, we'll carry on. Doesn't matter. Here we go, through the smoke. Oh, yes. That hooked up. Let's go, let's go. What have we got? 2.4 seconds. Get in. Love that, love that.
How was the acceleration test?
It was good. What was the official 0 to 62 time?
It's 2.5 seconds.
Guess who did it in 2.4?
You?
It must be my amazing driving.
Yeah.
So last time I saw you, we were in a camouflage car and it was doing all of this stuff, this crazy dancing, which is very, very cool. And I asked you to include a button that you could press to make the car dance. We called it a camel button, didn't we? Please tell me that you installed it in the production version.
We done it, but in a different way. There's a button, but it's a boost button. So if you use this, the car will have more power for 10 seconds.
How much power?
70 kilowatts more.
95 horsepower.
Yes.
What is actually going on here though? What's the benefit of having a car doing this but not showing it off dynamically like in the production version?
This is done to calibrate the active suspension. We have linked the suspension to enhance the comfort while driving and also to reduce body movement.
Does it help you in terms of cornering ability?
Yes, it does. It does.
I saw a slalom course over there. I'm guessing that that is for me to test
Yes, that's
that
it.
suspension?
Yeah.
Okay, are you coming with me? No.
Not this time.
I'm going to probably break another record
Yeah.
and come back to you and tell you about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so active suspension. We're going to give it a go and see what its practical use is in the real world. I'm going to go in comfort mode to begin with. There we go. Now this should lean into the corners ever so slightly to keep me flat. I can feel the body changing direction slightly. It didn't feel 100% flat though. Let me give it another run in the opposite direction and see what happens.
As you can see, the car doesn't appear to lean that dramatically into the bends, not as much as the dancing demo might suggest it can, but it does stay fairly level to optimize stability in comfort mode.
We'll see what RS mode does, shall we? So this shouldn't lean into the corners. This should instead keep me rock solid, as flat as possible, in order for me to go as fast as possible.
In its sportiest mode, the car abandons its philosophy of leaning into the corners, but instead tries to stay as flat as it can, partly to avoid having to lean and then unlean. By keeping things level the entire time, both side to side during cornering and front to back during braking and acceleration, it should make the E-Tron GT a more dynamic proposition.
Should I go a bit faster on this as well? Yeah, I think I ought to, right? Here we go. Oh, it's so quick. Okay, left, right. That is incredible. In a normal car, especially one as large and heavy as this, you'd expect the body to be moving a lot. Nothing of the sort. I'm going back. Left turn, right turn. You can carry so much speed in the bends. That is outrageous. Okay, I've got to do one more, straight into it. That's addictive. A car like this shouldn't be cornering at this kind of speed and doing it where the body is completely flat. That's nuts. That is so good. That is almost transformative, I would say. The previous car will definitely have a bit of body roll. I can feel the ESC working to try and slow me down a little bit, but in terms of body control, that is spot on. I'm gonna actually try something a bit more violent now. So forget these cones. I'm just gonna give it a left-right wiggle as I go as quickly as I can. And again, look at that. I mean, you can see for yourself, that's as flat as it gets. That is pancake. That's uncanny.
More on that suspension in a second when we take the car onto the road, but for now, let's talk about another huge improvement in the RS e-tron GT, the design. The original car was always handsome, particularly from the rear, but there was potential to improve at the front. To address that, Audi has redesigned the front bumper. There are actually 3 versions of this car, with the sportiest model having the most aggressive front, with huge air intakes on either side helping cool the batteries and motors. And note the inclusion of camouflage carbon fiber on the front, as well as on the door mirrors and the side skirts, along with a matte carbon option for the roof. In addition, you can also specify the same glass panoramic roof as the Taycan with the fancy light control option. You get new wheel designs, again an improvement on the previous car, And at the back, the RS e-Tron GT Performance is as aggressive as they come, with an updated rear diffuser, again finished in camouflage carbon, giving it a wide, low stance that's set off by huge muscular wheel arches. It is stunning.
Okay, time to show you the bit that I couldn't show you before in Oman because it was all covered up by a cloth sheath, the interior. I'll let you in on a little secret. Under that interior of the prototype, there was nothing. It was basically the old version. They hadn't quite finished it yet, but now they have, and I think you'd agree, it's an improvement on the previous car. So the big thing in this new performance version is the fact you get this camo carbon. It looks brilliant, doesn't it? You get that on the dashboard and on the door trims to match the exterior carbon camo, and I think it's brilliant. It's a bit Mansory, but then I quite like Mansory in some ways. I'm slightly disappointed that you don't get that camouflage carbon on the center console. Instead, you get this tacky looking black plastic as before. This gets scratched up very easily, so having carbon camo or camo carbon, whatever it is, would have gone down a treat with me. Apart from that, you get an improved steering wheel. I say improved, it's different. I think some people might not get on with it because it's got a flat top and a flat bottom, but to me it looks fantastic. One little demerit, if you can call it that, is the fact that it still has these capacitive touch buttons. I warned Christian, I told him, don't give us capacitive buttons, but he ignored me on that. And what you're going to end up with if you drive this car is accidentally pressing these capacitive buttons as you drive along. Not ideal, but credit where it's due. I do like these buttons here. One to give you shortcut access to the RS modes, and one for shortcut access to the boost button, which I'll talk about a bit later. New seats, apparently, very similar to the old seats. Not a bad thing. They're comfortable and supportive, and they look good as well. We've also got some new tech. The dials on the virtual cockpit are now finished in white as a tribute to the Audi RS2 Avant. And we've also got some gauges and dials that are specific to the battery. Oh yeah, on the infotainment system, we've also got a new app store, and it has Alexa with built-in ChatGPT. This wouldn't be a review if I didn't test whether ChatGPT works, so let me do that. What would win in a fight between a horse and a pig?
According to ChatGPT, a horse would likely win in a fight against a pig due to its size, strength, and natural fighting instincts.
The new Audi RS e-Tron GT represents the first time that Audi have ever used the performance badge in any of its electric cars. Normally, that honor gets reserved for the likes of the RS6 and RS7 Performance. So, that's big news. I'll tell you what's also big news, the fact that there are now 3 versions of the e-Tron GT. There's the £107,000 entry-level S e-Tron GT, then the £124,000 RS e-Tron GT, and then the top dog, £142,000 RS e-Tron GT Performance. And that's the car I'm in today.
The Performance uses a PSM motor on the front axle with an output of 239 PS thanks to a revised pulse inverter for higher discharge currents. It also has a newly developed motor on the rear axle with 564 PS by default. You might have noticed, if you're good at maths, that the total potential output power appears to be 803 PS, but the most the car can have access to in everyday driving is 748 PS. If you want more, you push the boost button and get an extra 95 PS for 10 seconds. When your 10 seconds have elapsed, you can push it again. If you want the full 925 PS, you'll have to stop and use launch control.
Let's just see if we can feel what difference the boost button makes. So I'll accelerate now, just in normal mode. I mean, yeah, that's super violent. Do I want to add 95 horsepower to that? Okay, I will do it for science. So pushing the button right now, boost engaged, accelerating. Yeah, okay, it's quicker. I don't feel like I need the extra power at all in any way, shape or form, but I suppose if you end up on a racetrack in this car for some reason and you want to overtake someone, then your boost button is going to do the job. Also, it might be quite useful for things like merging onto a motorway, so yeah, maybe it is warranted after all. No, it's not. That's unnecessary. I suppose it's quite handy then that this car has much better brakes than before. Still really strong, but there is a difference in the way that they feel. The previous car had a lot of travel in the pedal, so you'd push it and it would go down by a few centimeters, but it would feel like almost nothing would happen. So you'd push harder to avoid hitting the object that you were braking for in the first place. And that extra force ended up in you feeling like you were having a bit of an emergency stop moment when it didn't really need to be that way. But I'm happy to report that the brakes in this are much better. They're just as strong, but you get much better feel and much better consistency and feel like you're in better control of the car.
As for ride quality, that's arguably the biggest improvement in the E-Tron GT. The old car was perfectly fine, but the suspension wasn't quite as controlled as on the Taycan, leading to passengers having wobbly head movements on uneven roads. That's changed. It's a lot more settled, and in the comfort setting, the car will now lean into corners to help provide a more stable cornering experience while keeping the suspension level under acceleration and braking. It's much improved and makes the GT a far better GT.
The steering is much better as well. The previous car felt a bit woolly and unresponsive at times. Not a horrible feel, just not as good as the Porsche Taycan. But this one, much improved. Everything feels sharper and more instantaneous. The car feels more responsive and it's much more pleasurable to drive on the whole. You feel like you can take it by the scruff of the neck and just enjoy the thing. It's really good. Is it as good as the Taycans? Not quite, but it's a lot closer.
The batteries in the GT are better too. Audi has beefed up the energy density, now going up to 97 kilowatt hours net, whilst also reducing the weight of the pack by 9 kilograms for a total of 652 kg. The entry-level car will do up to 375 miles, the RS E-Tron GT will do 369, and the Performance claimed 365. But what about the real world?
I've been hammering this car, as you've seen on the track, doing multiple launches. I did make a point of recording how much range this car had when I set off. The minute I got inside it, it said 377 kilometers on the dashboard. And I've done repeated launches. I must have done like 15, 20 hard launches. I haven't recharged it, and it still says I've got 215 kilometers left. So I've only lost about a third of the battery pack, despite doing some really high performance driving. Now, on the way to the track, I did take it easy and reset the trip to see how efficient the car would be, and it actually reported I was getting 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. And that is really good. On the previous car, it was actually pretty good to get over 3 miles per kilowatt hour. So the fact that I got 3.2 without even trying shows that this car might actually be slightly more efficient than the previous version. So what's my verdict on the Audi RS E-Tron GT Performance? Well, on the whole, I think it's a brilliant piece of kit. Do you know what? The original RS E-Tron GT was one of the best electric cars on the market. I can say that hand on heart because I know that car inside out. It wasn't perfect, it had a few problems here and there. The suspension was a little bit wallowy in places. The steering wasn't as sharp as it could be. The brakes equally weren't quite as sharp as they could have been. And in places, particularly at the front, I think the looks could have been slightly improved. But here we are with the next iteration of RS E-Tron GT, and Audi have fixed pretty much everything that was wrong with the previous car. What we have here is an electric Grand Tourer that's gone from very good to brilliant. Go check it out.